Parking in this area is pretty bad nowadays. When I first come to live down here, there were, I think it was 3 or 4 cars in the street. There's a few more at this one, but in Bank Road there weren't many. One of them was an orange Austin Allegro. So it was a while ago. But over time I've seen it go from pretty much no vehicles. I mean, this lay-by here virtually had nothing in it, to what it is today, where mum, dad, the 2 kids and the dog and cat have both got a car each. So the reliance on cars has grown substantially in the last 30 years or so. Sometimes I find that the standard of driving has gone down as well. It just seems to be, I don't know, not many people obeying the highway code these days. And don't get me wrong, I'm not the most perfect person in the world when it comes to driving, but I try and stick to the speed limits and what have you. You know, I'll do 30 in the 30, whereas a lot of people these days seem to want to do 40, 45. This section here is usually fairly poor. Once you get past the college and they realise that the speed camera van isn't here, people tend to increase their speed to about 40 miles an hour down here, because they're heading towards the dual carriageway, so they kind of see it as a, I don't know, an acceleration lane or something. Like the blue van that just came out from the lane is now centimetres from my boot because he wants to do 40 down here, whereas I'm doing 30, so it causes annoyance, although it is a 30, you know what I mean? Van doesn't indicate while it goes round the roundabout. But it will be coming up here, and I'm fairly sure it'll be on a mesh. Ah no, he's fired off in the other direction. At great speed. But yeah, there seems to be an obsession these days with speed. It's almost as if everyone's in a rush, as if everyone's late for work. You know, if everyone's busted to go to the toilet or something, there just seems to be a rush. Like, I'm not in a rush. I'm doing 61, 70 limit down here. So I fully expect to be overtaken, you know. It'd be unusual if I wasn't. In fact, I kind of encourage it. I'd rather people overtake than sit on your bumper, if you know what I mean. And to be fair, so far this morning, there's no lunatics. some days you do get people who are going a little bit wild. Chap in front's only doing 49 miles an hour, so I'll escape from there. There we go, I'm back up to 62. One of the things I don't really understand these days as well is the rush to get to the back of the queue, so to speak. You get so many cars where a road like this goes into one lane, flying, doubling the speed limit, going absolutely crazy to try and get in front of you, when there's a massive queue in front of you with traffic, with tractors and lorries and all sorts in it, and they're going like absolute crazy to get to the back of the queue. You know, I'll be at this point here, the queue will be where that car is, and you'll get a car fly past at 90 mile an hour, slicking back in and slamming on to get to the back of the queue, and I really do not understand that at all. And then the queue will be 4 miles of very slow moving traffic, and then it'll come to another junction in the road where it splits off into two, and once again said lunatic will be off at 100 miles an hour again. I don't know, I just don't get it. Seems to be a modern driving thing, the race to the back of the queue. The amounts of traffic as well nowadays on the road have increased substantially. I think for a time during COVID we got to the stage where there was virtually nothing on the road, because a lot of people were on that furlough thing. So the roads were virtually barren for quite a number of months. And to be honest, they didn't really recover for probably about a year and a half, something like that. Very, very, very peaceful. The volume of traffic has certainly increased now. I think in part due to the fact that people are returning to work, but also the people who are doing the work from home thing. The private sector has embraced that because they see it as a way of saving money. People can work from home rather than go to offices that they have to heat and light, etc. But the public sector doesn't really embrace that. Here we are, I'm doing 50 now in the 50 limit. There's that Range Rover flying past, and up ahead the road merges into one, Volkswagen as well. The Range Rover is doing a very dangerous overtaking manoeuvre with the car in front, the little car, which it's just done, and now he's reached the back of the queue. That's exactly what I mean, and that's exactly what happens here daily, every single day, without fail. Why? What is the reason behind it? Look, there's a queue of cars now. Alright, it's not quite as terrible as it generally is, but that Range Rover had just pulled off. He must have been doing 70, 75 miles an hour in the 50, and he's then done a dangerous overtaking move, and the very last bit, the last postage stamp of dual lane to get in front of that small car in front of him, just to get to the back of the queue. What is that all about? I don't understand it. Why do people do that? I really do not understand it. Because you're now going to be stuck in this. I'm doing 34 miles an hour in a 60 limit. Oh, and I've got no problem with that, you know, just get on with it, get to work. But cars like that Range Rover, and not just him, you know, I'm just picking on him, it's generally a daily occurrence. Well, it is a daily occurrence. I can record this tomorrow and it'll happen again. I could have recorded it yesterday and it would have happened then. It's all the time. I just don't understand it at all. This urge to just get in front, must get in front, I've heard it called before, but why? I can understand if there's a very slow moving car like a tractor or something chugging along on a 60 limit road and then a massive clear road ahead of you, but when it's like this, when you know every single day you're going to turn up and fly ahead, land behind a car and be stuck in a huge queue, I don't understand it. I just don't. I don't know. Maybe I never will. I do find it unusual, I must admit. But that's what I mean about the standard of driving. People ignoring the highway code, people ignoring things like speed limits, but not just ignoring them. Not doing 60 and a 50 or something, do 75 instead, you know, 80. Roads like this, it's not too bad. It's a 60 limit road this, not 70. Most, to be fair, vehicles on here seem to stick to the 60 or ish, and if they are going faster they're usually only going about 70 down here, whereas you do get the odd lunatic. I've been driving along here doing 60 miles an hour and I've had a motorbike fly past and disappear into the distance in about 3 seconds, if that. And you do get things like, every now and then you'll get some kind of super duper Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche sort of thing fly past. You get the odd one or two. This is heading into Cheshire now, so and the Wirral and what have you, so you do get a few posh people. The richer types, you know. See, behind me there's a vast amount of vehicles approaching, and I need to flick over to the right shortly, so I'm going to get into the right hand lane. I really wouldn't mind being sat behind those lorries, doesn't bother me at all. It's just getting back into this lane when you've got all kinds of traffic behind approaching at speed. Like the BMW behind, obviously, will want to travel along here at probably 70. Well, I'll get up to 60. Don't want to annoy anyone. Start indicating now just to let you know that I'm not just hogging this lane, I do want to get off. But you see, if you'd stayed in that left hand lane here, you would never get across, because you see all these cars now flying past in this right hand lane. It's very seldom that any would let you into the lane, make it as awkward as possible. So now I've got a Fiesta that's 3 centimetres from the bumper, and that's not the kind of vehicle that I want stuck behind me whilst I'm driving up here. So I'll let him disappear into the distance. Fingers crossed whoever else comes through isn't in such a hurry. Out the window. Let some birdsong in or whatever. Quite pleasant at the moment, there's lots of heat coming in. BMW approaching fast from behind. You do generally get a couple of seconds at least of peace for a BMW and followed by an Audi. Would you believe it? Oh look, another BMW. No, I think BMW drivers get a bad rep. They're not all insane maniacs who want to go double the speed limit. Only 96% of them. About 95% of Audi. Watch on these corners, because sometimes you can come round them and there's I've actually had a van parked up on that corner that you couldn't see until you got round the corner, and it's very, very popular with cyclists and horse riders, so generally try and take it easy around the horses and give the cyclists plenty of room. Only doing the speed limit here, so I've been caught by everything instantly. Most of the vehicles tend to drive along at the speed limit then. Some of them get a bit annoyed and accelerate past. 'Cause, 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 most, to be fair. Don't bother. I'm doing 50 in the 50, so I don't think it should annoy too much. A few cars play run the gauntlet here, so that silver car there, see? That's why you have to be on the ball. Most people there would have tooted the horn and waved their fist angrily, but I just anticipate what's coming. Had it before, so I'm always very wary. Limit sign obscured here, see? It's written on the road though as we pass. Take it down to 30. That generally causes mass fury then. People really don't like doing 30 at this section of the road, even though it's a 30 limit. People get most distressed. I generally indicate to let people know I'm turning over, because that means that a lot of them get into that right hand lane now and vanish like the RX-7 or 8 or whichever one it is. 8 is it? Yeah. Just lets people know where you're going, doesn't it, so that they can get past. Like I say, I don't want to slow anyone down, but well, there we have it. It was an interesting journey, wasn't it, folks? Some excitement for you. And I will catch you on the next